Thomas looking for a pass to Falk. Far wing. Wired. Score! One-timer. Dvorsky. First goal. First point in the National Hockey League. And he's got the Blues on the board with hugs and smiles from his teammates. This place will erupt if the Blues can get the equalizer before the end of the period. Robert down low. Snuggerud turns. Centers. Oh, wire. Thomas. He scores! 2-2. Robert Thomas ties it up. 1:22 to go. Second period. Suter walks it in. Drives the goal. Blues pick it up. Shen wraps it near wing. Straight away. Perico on. Rebound. They score! Suter on the doorstep. Tucks it home. 3-2 Blues. 1:23 to go. Bugstad chips it back to center. 3 to go. That'll do it. Take that piano off your back, chuck it in the Mississippi, and bring out the Zamboni.
It's just nice to hear, right? It's just nice to finally hear it after a 7-game losing streak, what felt like for a lot of fans it was never going to end. To see the team play that 60-minute hockey that we've been talking about. Welcome, everyone, into the fourth period. It's presented by First Community Credit Union. Alex Ferrario with you as the Blues, essentially a comeback win, which is nice for them to see. Now, it's not going into the third period trailing, but it's still going into the second period trailing by a goal, and then essentially 23 minutes into the hockey game, you found yourself trailing by 2, an area that the Blues have essentially just kind of laid down and died the rest of the way, but that was not the case tonight, man. That goal went in for Mangiapane, and it just felt like the Blues were continuing to push. They just needed something to break the ice. They needed something to go their way, and it wasn't a lucky bounce. It wasn't a puck off of a butt. No, it was a highlight reel-esque one-time shot from Dalibor Dvorsky. That felt like it just shifted all of the energy away from, man, this can't be happening again, or it keeps happening to us, and it resulted in, man, we're feeling it right now. 2 minutes later, 2.5 minutes later, Robert Thomas finds the back of the net, and then the Blues just felt like it was wave after wave after wave. Now, I know a lot of people were probably focusing on the 10-minute span in that third period that they did not have a shot on goal. To me, that's different than the Columbus Blue Jackets game that they went about 6 minutes without a shot on goal, because this one felt like you were playing that 50-50 hockey. You were trying to make sure you were smart with puck management, making sure you weren't putting it in a bad spot, and waiting for your opportunity to cash in on offense. Now, it took them 18 minutes and 37 seconds to do so, but they were patient with it. And they continued to play a very strong game in their own end in the third period. Yes, didn't have a shot on goal in 10 minutes. They also held Edmonton shotless in 9 minutes and 25 seconds in the second period, but they were lying in the weeds waiting. They were waiting for an opportunity, and that's what Parayko took with the slap shot. That's what that cycle game presented with Shen and Suter and Kyrou, and Pius Suter standing in front of the net. I'll go back to a Bill Armstrong quote that he had a couple of weeks ago on the success that Utah was having. He said, if you want bread, you go to the bakery. If you want money, you go to the bank. And he said, if you want goals, you go to the front of the net. And tonight, Pius Suter stood there and picked up his 5th goal of the season. So much to get into. We're going to hear from Robert Thomas and Dalibor Dvorsky in just a bit. We'll hear from Jim Montgomery on the other side. We'll also have our final look. And we're live up on our YouTube channel at 101 ESPN, so you can jump in over there on the conversation with us. And put your comments in the comments section, and you can also text them to me, 314-399-9646, and tweet them to me at Ferrario101 ESPN. But before we go any further, let's get our 3 takeaways tonight.
It's time for tonight's 3 takeaways, presented by Ted Drew's Frozen Custard, a St. Louis tradition for over 95 years. Unmatched quality, unforgettable taste.
First takeaway for me is that was an unreal game defensively. Again, it felt like they were building towards this. And you heard Justin Falk say this after the Blue Jackets loss. You heard Braden Shen say it on the pregame show. Robert Thomas say it on the pregame show. You just felt like things were trending in the opposite direction of what they were in the midst of that 7-game losing streak in the first 5 games. You know, the Vancouver Canucks game, you dominated offensively, but you kept giving up those odd man rushes. You needed to tighten up in your own end, and you needed to have better puck management, is what Jim Montgomery talked about. Then you carry that over to the Columbus Blue Jackets game, and where your offense was inconsistent, to say the least, to where you picked it up in the third period, didn't really have it in the second period, but defensively, you were stingy. You allowed fewer than 6 high-danger scoring chances in that game. You really didn't allow any odd man rushes, defensive zone breakdowns, but it was a game that you fell short. It was progress from what Jim Montgomery was talking about, and tonight felt very similar to how they played against the Dallas Stars earlier this season. I thought their stick play was phenomenal tonight. Robert Thomas breaking up plays left and right with his stick on Connor McDavid. Blocked shot-wise for the Blues, they were in the way of everything tonight. They had a total of 21 blocked shots, 4 of them for Justin Falk, 3 of them for Colton Parayko, 4 of them for Toropchenko, all of those in prime positions in the defensive zone. And then on top of that, you just clogged up the middle of the ice. They were so prone to giving up those grade A scoring chances early on in the season. This one felt like Edmonton couldn't sniff it. With the exception of the power play goal, it just felt like they couldn't sniff anything in the offensive zone. And that's credit to the defensive play in front of the net, and that is also credit to the forwards back-checking and breaking up plays. Were there scenarios that you gave Edmonton a little bit of life and an odd man rush? Yeah, absolutely. The 4-on-2 that resulted in the Mangiapane goal, that's something you got to tighten up. But those were very few and far between in this hockey game compared to what it was against Vancouver, Chicago, Utah. So to me, you tighten things up defensively. And I tweeted this one out at Ferrario 101 ESPN. And credit to Julie over on the FanDuel Sports Midwest team. Connor McDavid was held without a shot on goal in this game. It is the 28th time in his career that he has gone without a shot on goal. It's the 3rd time that he's done so against the Blues. So he has mentioned in the past of how Colton Parayko was one of the toughest defensemen he plays against in the National Hockey League. And it goes to show you not just Parayko, but Robert Thomas as well, Pavel Buchnevich, who's out there on the ice, to hold him to only 2 shot attempts and 0 shots on goal. I picked up 2 assists. Still impressive in itself. That's such a McDavid stat line, but a very impressive feat nonetheless. And add on to that, it's the 15th time in their careers that McDavid and Draisaitl have been held shotless in a game together, and the 2nd time it's happened against the Blues. So to me, this was huge progress for a team that all of the advanced analytics numbers were telling you how good the Blues were in their own end. This backed up the process that they have been talking about. Second takeaway for me tonight, man, it was good to see Robert Thomas back. You felt his presence in that first period, the first shift. The first shift with Heath Snuggerud and Pavel Buchnevich cycled the puck for a good 30 seconds in the offensive zone, had 3 high-danger chances in the one shift that they were out there together with. And then from there, it just felt like the baby had their blankie. Right? It just felt like he was in the right spot at the right time in the offensive zone. Offense was coming at a premium every time he stepped onto the ice. I felt like Pavel Buchnevich was massively noticeable in this game, as well as Jimmy Snuggerud. And then the defensive side, we already talked about how great the Blues were in their own end against Connor McDavid. A lot of that is on Robert Thomas. And Robert Thomas tonight finishes this game 19 minutes and 56 seconds. A 2-point performance, 6 shot attempts, 4 on goal, 3 takeaways, and went 6 of 13 from the faceoff dot. So they needed their number 1 center back, and he came back with a presence without question. And it just, when Jim Montgomery was asked earlier today about what Robert Thomas does, he said it puts everybody else back into line. It puts all of the minutes back together where you're not overusing one specific guy in one spot. It just puts everybody back into the role they need to be. Pius Suter on the second line, who eats about 16, 17 minutes a game. Dalibor Dvorsky's playing somewhere between 13 and 15 and having an impact. Bukestad's able to play 11 minutes and have an impact on the fourth line. Everybody falls in line with what you need when Robert Thomas comes back. And then the third takeaway has to be Dalibor Dvorsky. This is the 3rd consecutive game that not only was he good offensively, and I mean, look, that one-timer shot. I don't think we've seen a one-timer shot like that on the power play since David Perron. And specifically on the opposite side of where David Perron would typically set up, because where he scored was on the far side of the ice, the right side if you're looking at the goal. Perron usually was on the other side. So to have that shot as well as Jimmy Snuggerud, that is going to be a dangerous power play moving forward. But even beyond that, very good in the faceoff dot. Tonight was tough for him. He went 1 for 8, 13%, but not an easy task when you're going up against Leon Draisaitl in some faceoffs. But, you know, he generates offense, always seems to be in the right place defensively, broke up a couple of plays, had a hit, and 2 shot attempts, the one on goal. And he played almost 15 minutes tonight against Edmonton. So it feels like the comfortability for Dalibor Dvorsky just continues to grow and grow and grow, which is huge for the Blues. It's why you bring him up in this scenario. Thomas was injured. You needed a spark. He comes up, but now you build the confidence, and now you get him comfortable, and now you see the progress grow with his game, just like you saw with Jimmy Snuggerud last season when he came over from the college game. So that's my Ted Drew's 3 takeaways. As always, we want your 3 takeaways, 314-399-9646. Also over on our YouTube channel at 101 ESPN STL. Jordan, if we can, let's get some Dalibor Dvorsky audio for tonight's soundbite of the night.
The soundbite of the night is presented by Rocket Convenience Stores. Fuel your car and your daily cravings at Rocket Convenience Stores.
Got a great pass from Pollock there, so just try to shoot it, and I'm happy to win it.
You just feel like you just got to be ready to shoot any time you get it, especially in the circle there. Have the coaches preached that to you too?
Yeah, I mean, coaches, all the guys did as well. Like when I have the opportunity to shoot, I should do it, and it was probably a good thing that I shot that puck. So
that's a great first goal. Is that everything you dreamt of when you envisioned what that first goal might look like?
I mean, to be honest, I wouldn't care if I kick the puck in or shoot it. It's first goal. It's a first goal. So yeah, I'm happy it went in this way. But I mean, whatever. What's first goal is. Doesn't matter how I score it.
Do you feel like it gave not only you guys life, but could you just sense the life in the building just go up after you score there?
Yeah, well, I mean, we played a great team game, so I feel like our overall team game kind of got the fans going, and I just try to do my best every time I'm out on the ice, and I get so much help from my teammates here, and I love being here and playing here.
Dalibor, a week or two ago, you were in Springfield not knowing when you'd get the chance, and now you're here contributing to wins with your faceoffs and scoring. Just how things have changed for you in a couple weeks.
Yeah, well, it changed a lot, and I'm happy for the opportunity, and just try to help the team win every time I'm out there, like I said.
Have you checked your phone yet?
No, not really. Not yet.
You expect a lot?
Yeah, like, we'll see. But first, I'm gonna call my parents, and yeah, let's see what's on it.
What time is it in Slovakia right now?
I don't know. It's sometime. I don't know, but my dad watches all the games, so he'll probably be up.
I love that where he said, I don't know, I'll get to that, but I'm going to call my parents first. That's so cool, and just what a shot. I was texting with the play-by-play man, Ryan Smith, and, of course, this was tongue-in-cheek, but he said, someone better tell Devo to just find a place and get his car shipped. I don't think we'll be seeing him again in Springfield this year, and I don't know what will happen. I mean, for right now, they're not going to have Jake Neighbors 5 weeks, that injury. Nathan Walker was a healthy scratch from the lineup, a guy that you just don't picture being out of the lineup very long, but still, I just don't know how you put a guy like that out of the lineup for how consistent and confident he seems to be playing. Let's play one more piece of audio before we get to Jim Montgomery on the other side. Let's hear from Robert Thomas.
To go down 2 and just keep on pushing, keep on playing. That's what's made us successful in the past is just keep on trucking forward, and we did that tonight, and it was a big win, not only just to win, but to come from behind and win. It gives our group a lot of confidence.
Yeah, does that build some character against a team like that? They can, they've gone to the Cup final 2 years in a row, and the players they have, they get you down 2, and you still kept fighting.
Yeah, I wouldn't say character. I think our group's got great character, and I think just confidence. I think that's a big thing. Coming back from behind down 2-0 against, like you said, a top team in the league. That brings a lot of energy to our group, and we're looking forward to carry that on.
What was the key to keeping McDavid down? No shots on goal for just the 28th time in his career.
Yeah, I mean, Perry does a great job. It's hard. He's got a ton of speed. It's impossible to really contain him. And, we got one of the best shutdown Ds in the league, and he always steps up and is big in these games.
When Dvorsky scores there, can you just feel the life in the building just shoot right up, and it gave you guys some energy?
Yeah, you know what? That's a massive goal for us. You see the way, we just kept on rolling after that goal. Sometimes you need a big power play, and, he had, it was a wicked shot. So definitely should get a lot of credit for really changing the tide of the game.
How much did you know about his one-timer before you got here?
I mean, just a lot. I mean, he's got a great shot, whether it's a snapshot, whether it's a one-timer. I believe his last game he hit the post, or maybe it was 2 games ago in that exact same spot. So he's dangerous, and, really impressed with his confidence, his poise. He's been playing awesome for us, and super happy he got his first one.
You look like you were a pretty sharp angle on yours when you guys were losing the games. Maybe those are going out. Nice to see one go your way.
Yeah, I mean, a little lucky off the post, off the goalie, and then, we'll take it.
Is that just karma for the wraparound in the first?
Maybe, I don't know. Sometimes you get those bounces, and that was a big one.
What's that like, though? You were saying this morning how tough it was to watch and not be able to help, and then to be out there helping.
Yeah, I mean, like I was saying, these guys have been building a big foundation for our team and being more consistent and getting back to the basics, and that showed tonight. Just the way we were able to, like, even their second goal, like we come out that period, we're playing really well. We have a ton of chances, and they block a shot and end up with a 4-on-2, and are able to score, and we just keep going back at them. And I think just for me to jump in the lineup and have the guys playing like that, have that mentality, wasn't too hard for me.
There you go, Robert Thomas, and I do love that. It's the second of the last 3 games that I feel like the adversity has never wavered the Blues. That Vancouver game, they just kept pushing. They just kept punching back every time Vancouver would pull themselves in. The Columbus game, dipped away a little bit, but then got it back towards the end of that period. Game was a little bit more out of reach by that point. It was 3-1, but still the Blues handled it. And then tonight, Robert's right. You go back and look at that Pittsburgh Penguins game. They go up by 2, you tie it. They scored that goal 42 seconds into the third period. It's 4-2, and the Blues get another one back, but then they just can't keep pushing. The Detroit Red Wings game, you go up by 4, and then the moment that the Emmett Finney goal went in, felt like the Blues couldn't stop the snowball. Tonight, they stopped the snowball. Mangiapane scored, and the Blues never wavered. They just kept punching back, and finally they punched through, and I agree with Robert. Sometimes you need that power play to come up with a momentum swing for you, and they got it on that Dalibor-Dvorsky goal. So I'm glad he said it to give some credit to Dalibor-Dvorsky for pulling the team back into the fight. We'll take a break here on the 4th period. It's extended post-game coverage here on your home for the Blues 101 ESPN. When we come back, we'll hear from Jim Montgomery, and we'll have the final look after a Blues 3-2 win over the Edmonton Oilers right here on your home for the Blues 101 ESPN.
back to the First Community Credit Union Blues postgame show.
Presented by Scott Lee Heating Company and Urban Chestnut Brewing Company on 101 ESPN.
Here's a wild scenario that I'm just thinking out loud with, because I saw this over on the YouTube chat at 101 ESPN STL. Josh and Bulldog going back and forth of if Dvorsky stays, and they said, maybe he goes down and plays in the AHL during the Olympic breaks. Now, this is a huge what if, but is there a chance Dvorsky could make the Olympic roster for Slovakia? Because, I'm looking at players that would be potentially a part of it. There's not a whole lot of forwards in the National Hockey League that would be on Team Slovakia. You've got a couple of guys who play for the Calgary Flames that would be on it. Martin Pospisil would be one of them. You have Simon Nemec with the New Jersey Devils. You've got Juraj Slafkovsky with the Montreal Canadiens. But I'm looking through this, and it's hard to find a bigger group of players that could potentially be on that roster. So if Dvorsky, and this is a big if, but if Dvorsky stays up for the next few months and continues with this success, don't be surprised if Dalibor Dvorsky's name pops up on that potential Olympic team for the 2026 Olympics, because he played for Slovakia in the Worlds in this past offseason, so they've obviously already know his talent level, and there's just not a whole lot of players because they carry 25 guys, 14 forwards, 8 defensemen, and 3 goaltenders. Look around the National Hockey League. Now, again, they take some guys that play overseas in Sweden or in other leagues, but still, I have to imagine if Dalibor Dvorsky is showcasing his talent that they would consider somebody like that to play on the NHL roster. And talk about some experience for a kid like that already in a long season if you get to go play in the Olympics for your country. But just some thoughts I'm having from the conversation over on the YouTube chat. But now let's hear what Jim Montgomery's thoughts are.
It's time to hear from the head coach, Jim Montgomery, presented by Fisher Window and Door Store, offering quality American-made Marvin windows and doors. Visit their showrooms in Brentwood or East Alton, Illinois.
Just how much did you need that result tonight?
Well, we needed it, but I think, we're a process-oriented team, and we believe that if our things that we believe that we have to be good at, whether it's habits, details, or certain parts of our process of the game, winning net front battles, and then the results that come from that is grade A chances, and then game management was really good tonight. And that, we believe, leads to good results. And this, for me, this was the third good hockey game in a row that we've played. And if we keep playing like this, we're going to win a lot of hockey games.
Before that, could you just get a sense, crowd-wise, and maybe even on the bench when the scores there, the level just raised up?
Yes, on the bench, I didn't feel like I felt we were pretty confident. We're down 2-0. Yeah, they've made some high-end plays, but we had 3 odd-man rushes before they scored the goal to make it 2-0. So that gave us a lot of positive talk on the bench. And then, the power play came through. It was a great job by the kid, cranking it home. What a shot. That's, you get your first goal, and that's one you want to talk about. Yeah, I went bar down on a one-timer. Pretty cool.
Jim, speaking of trust in the process, you mentioned those 3 scoring opportunities you have. You don't get it, then you get the goal against. Go down 2-0. Just the resolve with the way things have been going. Can you speak to that?
Yeah, it's really important. I even during this slide, it may be hard to believe, but the belief in the room is that we're a good hockey team. And I talked about it earlier. There's a lot of analytics pointing. There's with the expected goals for and against and what quadrant we were in the last 10 years, the quadrant we were in, they haven't missed the playoffs. So that's why we felt a lot of good things. Now, that's just one win. Now we got to start building. We got to keep building. Because I think that we can be a really good hockey team if we keep building it the right way.
Parts of the game that Thomas touched tonight that maybe has been missing with him out of the line?
Well, the puck possession would be one, but the offense they generated tonight, that line was really good. But the important thing was I was matching up against McDavid, and for the most part, they hit a knob on a 4-on-2, and that's the only goal they gave up. Went the other way, 4-on-2, and, they made a bang-bang play. Theirs went in, ours hit a knob. And that's why, I like the way the resilience we had after that. But when you're talking about Thomas, I mean, when you lose your number one center and you get him back, you see the difference. Talk about people being deployed. He played 19 minutes. Our second line center played about 17. Our next, Dvorsky, played about 15. And then our fourth line played 12. And then that's good balance.
What specifically do you think you did well tonight on McDavid? No shots on goal for just the 28th time in his career.
I thought that we were very aware when he was on the ice. We didn't really shut him down, right? He had 2 assists. He's kind of like Michael Jordan. You keep him under 30 and you're happy, right? But that's what generational players do. I thought that we were able to negate his speed at our blue line by our up ice awareness of marking him up.
Zone, though, was Broberg one of those guys that just took that challenge head on? It seemed like he was there and met him every time and maybe dislodged the puck from him a number of times when he did get in the zone.
Yeah, I thought this morning that Broberg was looking for that challenge because we showed a lot of clips, obviously, of him and Draisaitl. And, every player we talk, another team we have acronym of MDM, most dangerous man. And I added a W for him because he's the most dangerous man in the world in our sport. And when I looked up and I said it, and Broby was really intense, looking forward to the challenge intense, which is what you want from your players.
That type of role for him, I mean, it hasn't been one that he always takes. I mean, the shutdown role, is that a new element that you see in his game or you want to give to him more?
Yeah, it's an element that we've talked to him about starting this year. He's on the first PK, so that goes hand in hand with that kind of shutdown role. Now that he's with Parayko, I don't know if it stays that way, but it's a good pairing right now, and I like the pairing of Fowler and Falk, the way they've been moving the puck. But we'll see how the pairs continue to evolve here. But I guarantee you, Broberg and Parayko will be playing together in Washington.
You mentioned Suter being in the right places on the ice. I mean, is he just reading that play and perfect example of it?
Well, he scores goals. He knows where he scores goals, from the hash marks down to the goal line. And he finds his way there. He has impeccable timing. When you're his size, you can't plant yourself in front of net like a Jake Neighbors or a Torpchenko can. You have to get there when the puck's arriving. And that's what happened on the game-winning goal. It was a real good shift by that line, who I thought was really good against the Draisaitl line tonight. And they got that game-winning goal, which was huge for us.
What did you think about the pace you guys were able to play at, particularly when you had the puck?
Yeah, I thought that if we're a little bit cleaner, we probably have a lot more goals tonight. Our D-men, I thought, were supporting our rush from breakouts and in neutral zone, and they were doing it from a good defensive position, jumping by people as we carried speed through the blue line. So I thought our transition with the puck was one of our better games, and I thought our puck management, when we didn't have a play, we put it in and we went to forecheck. So I thought the combination of our puck management and the speed we played with, I thought it gave them some trouble at times.
It's time to take a look back at tonight's game with the final look.
Driven by Pure Performance. Only stop for all your aftermarket vehicle needs.
Just an all-around really strong performance by the Blues. You heard Jim Montgomery mention it there. It's the third straight game where he felt like they played well. Tonight it felt like it was a 60-minute effort for the Blues that they just never let up and punched their way through it. They got their number one center back, which evened out the entire line combinations. All four lines were able to play the right amount of times. They had the effective power play, which, look, they came into this game 11th in the National Hockey League. It's not like they're playing poorly on the power play, but they're missing those timely moments. They were missing the timely saves. They got those tonight. They're missing the timely moments on the power play, and they got it, and it dragged the Blues into the fight, and then from there, they just kept punching. And just a couple of other thoughts for me before we wrap it up. Philip Broberg played like a number one defenseman tonight. I was just telling Jim Hewer this, like, played 21-38, which also, by the way, a lot of credit to Justin Falk, because Justin Falk played 23 minutes and 50 seconds. So Falk, Broberg, Fowler, and Parayko just were double shifting it every time McDavid or Draisaitl would step on the ice. But, Falk tonight, 4 blocked shots, picked up the assist on that power play goal. Broberg tonight picked up the assist on the Thomas goal with 4 shot attempts, 2 blocked shots, and 2 takeaways. Doesn't even take into consideration Parayko, 21 and a half minutes with 3 shot attempts and 3 blocked shots, and Cam Fowler, who had 1 shot on goal and was a +1. Defensively, they were a sound group tonight. But boy, howdy, did they find something really good in Philip Broberg, because that, like, hearing Jim Montgomery say he got another level, like where he was engaged to go out there and go up against Connor McDavid, that's huge to have on your backside with a guy like Philip Broberg, Colton Parayko, Cam Fowler, Justin Falk, and then the future outlook of the defense with Logan Mayhew's growth, Tyler Tucker's growth, and then we're not even talking about the guys in the minor league systems, guys like Adam Urachek, Lucas Fisher, so Theo Lindstein. It's an area right now that feels like it's just continuing to grow, and it's an area all season that the numbers have been there. They've been top 10 in terms of all of the defensive metrics you could look at. It just wasn't backed up by the results. And now you hope that the results start backing up the play, because if you can play like this for 3 straight, yes, it was a Canucks team that was beat up. Yes, you lost against the Blue Jackets, but all 3 games you played strong in for about 50-plus minutes. This one tonight felt like it was all 60 minutes. Carry that over to Washington. Carry that over to Buffalo. You come home for a nice homestand before you hit the road and go that East Coast going into Thanksgiving. Again, coming into this one, you had 12 games to go before Thanksgiving. And we always talk about being above 500 at Thanksgiving. Well, with those 12 games, to get back to 500, you now need 3 more wins. 3 more wins to put you at 7-7 on the year. And then from there, you grow from it. You go from 7-7 to maybe 9-7, maybe 10-7. If you could find a way to pick up 7 or 8 wins up until Thanksgiving, then you're right back where you need to be. And 7 or 8 wins on top of the win tonight and the loss that they had against Columbus, that would be in a 10-game stretch. Talking about 7-1-1, 7 or 8-2, something like that. So Jim Montgomery talked about. You go 3-6-1 in your first 10. You go 6-3-1 in the next 10. You're back to 500, and you're not talking about that first month. But they got to string them together. That's the real important part when they take on the Washington Capitals on Wednesday on the road. Washington, of course, not an easy opponent, nor is the Buffalo Sabres. Really nobody in the Eastern Conference is easy these days for how tight things truly are. But that game on Wednesday, Curbs mentioned it, it will be a radio-only broadcast, so no simulcast on this one. You'll be able to hear Chris Kerber and Joe Vitale right here on your home for the Blues 101 ESPN. 6:30 puck drop, which means a 5:30 pregame skate right here on 101 ESPN. Once again, a huge shout out to Jordan Deacon doing phenomenal work back in our studios, and to our engineer Jim Hewer doing great work also. I'm Alex Ferrario. Hope everyone has a great rest of their evening. Thank you for joining us on YouTube. Thank you for joining us on your drive home. Have a great rest of your night. We'll talk to you tomorrow. We'll have a new episode of the Last Minute Blues podcast tomorrow morning, a new episode of Curbside tomorrow morning, all of it on 101ESPN.com, and I'll be on the air from 11 to 2 for BK and Ferrario. And then we'll talk Wednesday, Blues and Capitals, right here on your home for the Blues 101 ESPN.
Thanks for listening to the First Community Credit Union Blues postgame show.